Hey guys, this is Rick coming at you with Weed to No Basis, the podcast for all things cannabis business related. Are you an entrepreneur? Have something you wanted to create, something you wanted to bring to life in the cannabis industry? Maybe you've always wanted to partake in one of the biggest industries in modern day history. This is the podcast to listen to.
So guys, we're on live. Weed to No Basis, and I'm going to introduce these two fab ladies here in just a sec. But remember, if you're listening to this, it's because you have a Weed to No Basis. And our audience, you may be kind of curious, maybe wondering how you can break into the modern day gold rush, and there's probably 1,000 phrases. Maybe you're in the industry and you're stuck, or you're looking for the next level, or you have a great idea. So Weed to No Basis is the show that caters to you, the cannabis startup entrepreneur. So I'm super excited about today because I was on their podcast about just a few weeks ago, and I had fun. And as you can tell, as we're talking, everybody's smiling. Like it was a fun episode. And
it really was.
So I want to introduce you to you guys, the listeners, and also for those of you who are watching on our YouTube and WeTube channel, you're going to see us interacting. But for those of you who are listening, this is Denise Rinehart and Angeles Jonske, the co-founders of Tree Line Organics. How are you guys doing today?
Great. We are so happy to be here.
Yes.
So honored to be here. This is awesome. And it's so great to talk with you again.
I know. I feel like we just hung up a few minutes ago, and
I know, right?
It was about what, last week or 2 weeks
I think
ago?
it was last
I think
week.
it was last
Yeah.
week.
The beginning of last week.
Time really flies.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And so I'm checking my connection here to make sure that, okay, I got to make sure I have a good, strong connection. Okay. So I just want to jump in because I was on your show and got to know a little bit about you all before the show. And then as we kind of talked, I learned a little bit more, and it was interesting. And for the listeners out there, this is how, honestly, relationships are built. It's sometimes the simplest things. And I'll say that we've established a friendship, and you guys are in St. Louis, right?
I would say that.
Yeah, we're in St. Louis.
St. Louis, and I'm in Texas. But and you guys can take the questions, and in other words, there's no specific format of who answers. But tell us a little bit about how you guys came to become a partnership. Maybe a little bit about where you came from, how you joined forces, and then the genesis of Tree Line Organics. And then at the end of that, I want you to touch on the CBN piece a little bit for our listeners.
Oh, okay. Well, Angie and I have been friends for, I'm not going to give you the real number because it's going to make us sound old, but it's a really long time. And so
over 2 decades.
Shut up.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
We could have been 7 when we met each other.
It's been about 10 years.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we've owned other businesses in the past together. And what we found was we really balance each other out. Things that she's really, really good at, I am horrible at. And things that I'm really good at, she doesn't do very well and doesn't like to do them. So really, we just balance each other out.
We make a good team that way, for sure.
Yeah, we did own a real estate company for a little while. And like, we always joked about that we were the perfect agent when we were like together. We made the perfect agent because
it's just normally, I don't like really advocate for being a partner with somebody, and unless you really know that person, how you flow and work together, because it just can cause issues. We've had other partnerships, in other businesses and stuff where we thought we flowed with them, but we didn't really know them well enough. And once you're in business, you really begin to know people. So, we just really have a good thing going as far as working together and
being best friends for
still
like
continuing to be best friends on top of working so closely together. So it's just worked for us. But we actually started thinking about the concept of having a CBD oil company out of my own health issues. And I was really struggling. I had insomnia for over 12 years. Such chronic insomnia for so long started, beating up my body, and I ended up with an autoimmune disease, adrenal fatigue, thyroid issues, gut issues, just quite a bit of things that were really challenging for me. And, I'm really huge in the holistic community. None of the doctors, regular or holistic doctors, were able to help me get to sleep. No matter, I tried every Chinese medicine. I changed my diet more, even though I was eating clean, just anything I could do to support, the sleep cycle I was doing, and nothing was working. It was so stubborn. One of my doctors is like, your system's so stubborn because it's been out of sync for so long that it was challenging. So I just went searching on my own. I'm like, something out there has got to help me get to sleep, because I knew if I couldn't get to sleep, I couldn't heal my body. I needed to be able to, start sleeping again. So then I was introduced to CBN on the marijuana side from a company, and started taking, they had pills. So I started taking those pills, and for the first time in 12 years, I was able to sleep. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to believe this is really true until it works for like 2 weeks in a row, so I just kept at it, and I was still sleeping. And so what we found through that, and that was on the marijuana side. So what we found was I couldn't find CBN on the hemp side anywhere, and I couldn't find anybody that carried it. So we're like, as we were starting to think about, bringing a CBD company to, bringing it to the space, one of the things that was really important to us, that we had a product that was different and unique, because there's so many people that just have regular CBD out there. And, to be really attracted to an investor, if we possibly went in that direction. At that time, we didn't know we would go in that direction, or to get a loan or anything like that. We wanted to be able to have a really good idea and concept and product, to be able to present.
Yeah, and we wanted our product to be extremely clean, and we wanted to just have the highest quality that we could find, that we could get our hands on. And
we wanted to create an experience.
Yeah.
We didn't want it to just be about, throwing out another product for people, but we wanted to we kind of wanted it to be along the lines of, subscription services, how you get this really nice box in, and it's almost like receiving a gift, instead of, I paid for this and this is money out the door. But it was like exciting to receive it, because it comes in this little box, and it's, got some stickers and inserts and just a really pretty presentation. So that was, just as important to us as, the actual product itself.
Yeah, when people would see that it was coming in the mail, they would just like get really excited, like, ah! And yeah, so I think that was
yeah, so it all started with that, and then we actually met a couple of cannabis consultants and signed on with them, and then it just kind of started morphing into an actual business.
So then, my words, not yours, but so this wasn't a ready, fire, aim, or ready, fire, aim. It sounds like you guys put some, first of all, that you both, so you mentioned that you were in business together. So I'm going to go on a limb here, says you have been entrepreneurs or experienced in the self-employment realm for a bit, right?
Correct.
Yeah, most of my life.
I think it's been about maybe 12, 13 years for me, and for you longer.
A lot longer, yeah.
Gotcha. So you guys have been friends for 20 years, since you were 7 years old. So,
since we were born.
Since you guys were born friends. So you guys are roughly in your early 20s. You've been in business together. That experience has parlayed, not necessarily cannabis, but the experience of being a business owner and being responsible for putting food on your table, that parlayed into the problem you were solving. And I want to make sure that the listeners understand what you said, is that you didn't want to just launch another CBD company. You were distinctly trying to solve a problem that you experienced yourself. And so just for the folks who don't know, is sometimes I like to ask questions as a nurse. I am an RN, and although my RN days are behind me, by trade, I'm still a triage nurse. But you also mentioned that you were insomnia, that you had some autoimmune issues, thyroid, gut issues, and a traditional, let's say a traditional approach, and I'm not knocking Western medicine at all, but a traditional approach would be, I need to see a specialist in each of those areas, go find something over the counter and or prescription, and then suddenly we have this cocktail of mess that we don't know what's really working or not. But it sounds like what you did is you got to the core of it, that if you could solve the sleep issue, that might cascade. Is that fair?
It's true. It's true. And I had been studying holistic medicine, Chinese medicine, how to actually get to the root core of disease for a while now. So at least 6 or 7 years, when I can't sleep at night, that's what I was studying, because I knew I'd read enough that if you can get to the root cause, you can heal even diseases like autoimmune diseases or I guess technically people say remission, but you can turn that around. It's not a sentence that is a life sentence, if you really get to the root cause and just dig, it takes longer to feel better that way sometimes, because I didn't want to put a Band-Aid on it. I wanted to actually heal it so I could thrive and really live and enjoy life.
Yeah. How long ago was that, give or take?
That I was diagnosed with that stuff?
I guess maybe how long that when you discovered that CBN was a possible solution, and was it months or years ago, or?
No, when I discovered CBN was like a year ago. So
Okay.
I've been taking CBN myself for a year.
Okay. So I'm curious about some other things. I'm going to jump into now, take a little segue into like entrepreneurship, because you all mentioned some really cool things, especially about how you complement each other. And, and there's a lot of folks out there who are even, and we've been asked, at Weed to Know Basis and at Green Seed Cannabis Co., I'm thinking about a partnership with this person or that person. And there's no necessarily formula to partnership. You guys mentioned something that you complement each other. So I'm curious, Denise, if you were, and I'm going to ask you, so what is because you also mentioned that you know what your strengths are. And so what is your strength? And then I want you to tell me what your partner's strength is.
That'll be easy. So I am the outgoing one. I love doing video. I love talking with people. If we were at a trade show, I would be the person that would be out talking to everyone and pulling them into our booth, and that would be me. Angie is very detail oriented. She's an artist, so she's like super creative. She knows like all the technical stuff behind things. And so like if I were to bring someone into our booth, I would bring them in, and then she could close the deal and like talk to them and get like all detail stuff. And so I think that's one of our biggest differences.
Nice. And you guys know that. I mean, you're comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. It's good.
I would like,
I don't want to do what she does.
Yeah.
She totally
It's really good because there's not that friction that sometimes you do feel or see, or that tension or anything. We've never had that. I mean, not that we get along 24/7, but we know how to wrap it up and get back to work pretty fast, and get things worked out really fast if there is a disagreement or whatever.
Because we know it's a team.
Yeah.
It's a team thing.
We've got the end goal in mind, and
what is that?
More than just us.
What's the end goal?
Well, the end goal is, obviously we really want to, I've got such a soft spot for people that are struggling so much with, sleep, and not only sleep, but with autoimmune issues. So, and I see people so tormented by not being able to sleep. So, one of our goals, I guess, along the journey is to help as many people as we can and to give them hope that you really can get sleep. The end goal for our company is we do want to exit within 3 to 5 years. So we came into this company with the notion that we are going to sell it at some point. And it could be sooner than 3 to 5. So it's not like written in stone. If it happens sooner, that's fine. But that was just in our minds what we were planning for. And then, we love the industry. So, to us, we've already talked about, well, we think we would get back in, and maybe like work with another cannabinoid. So.
Nice. I'm taking notes. And so for the folks who hear a pause, if you're listening to this on audio, I take a lot of notes. And that's an important thing, is not only the partnership, but that you guys complement each other and that you know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. And it sounds almost like Denise, you go out and hunt it and you bring it back home and it gets cleaned and all that. And,
Yep.
you know, it's funny, like peculiar and haha, but my wife and I are partners and we're married. So we're partners in business. In fact, we started our company when we were first dating, and we launched it.
Whoa.
We launched it and then got married. But we just did an episode on a basis, and we were both on. And one of the things, the phrase we use is kite and string. So I'm the kite, and my wife is she's the grounding force, and it's a fantastic compliment. And it's so awesome to hear that you guys are pulling it off and pulling it off well. And just as a message for the listeners is that partnerships can be a glorious thing as long as there's a compliment and you're okay with what, you know, because some people, honestly, Denise, they want to be in the spotlight. Like I do, honestly. Like I love being on.
High five.
Yeah.
I think she's the same way. And me, like I do come on the video, and I do like to educate people. You know, so I don't like the smoozing and all that stuff. I just want to get down to business. So I do love the educating and helping people to you know, that are struggling, giving them tips, because we like to even go beyond CBD or CBN. We like for people to know this is an amazing product. This is going to help you and help change your life. However, if you're still eating like crap, or if you're not meditating, or if you're not doing other things to support your body as a whole, you can't expect this to have the best outcome. You know, as good an outcome as you could if you're taking care of yourself in every other way too.
Gotcha. So it's
so I do like, but Denise, shoot, I would be happy if I was just behind the camera the whole time.
And I'm like, turn it on, film me.
So I have a lot of notes. This is really cool. I mean, you guys, without knowing it, you're dropping so many startup nuggets or entrepreneur cannabis specific nuggets, you know, that you've been in business before. So you didn't just rush into this. You didn't have, it sounds like, a build it and they will come mentality. You ideated on this. And I did look at your website, which is treelineorganics.com. And you guys are even to the point, just by reading your website, you know who your target is, your audience. You know, so I'm curious, do you have a name for her, your target audience? Because it's a female 25 to 40.
Oh, it definitely is a woman. And yeah, that is definitely the age range. I can't
remember if we named her or not, but we do. See, we come from a social media marketing and Facebook ads background, so we knew all about building an avatar. And we've taken like courses from like Marie Forleo, and we've been in her B school, if you've heard of her, and other courses. So we knew, like, the first thing that we would do with a client as a social media manager is to, if they haven't figured out their avatar, to help them figure that out. So we knew that we needed to know who we were talking to before we could even start talking, you know, saying a message to anybody.
And I should also say that we've owned businesses in the past where we didn't know our avatar, and notice we are not doing those businesses anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. The phrase,
it's harder. It makes it so much harder if you don't know who you are talking to.
Yeah.
There's a phrase in the business world. It says, if you market to everybody, you market to nobody. What do you guys think about that?
Yep.
Is that kind of what you're alluding to?
That's totally what we went with, for sure. Yeah. You know, and even as well, you know, a lot of people, they may have their avatar, but yet they're still trying to speak to everybody, or they've just got such a wide niche. We wanted to not only have an avatar that was focused, but also a niche that was focused. So that's why we went with the sleep. You know, so it's not only the 24 or 25 to 45 lady, but she used to be active and she wants to be active again, but she's struggling and she's not getting sleep and she feels like crap. And so you see a lot of like lifestyle active, like, you know, climbing and hiking and all of this on our website, because we want to show people it's possible to get back there again. And that was real personal as well, because that's what I used to do. I used to go paddleboarding and hiking, and I love the outdoors and everything. And then there's been a season I can't do that because I can't, you know, I just can't physically keep up with it.
Yeah. You know what I also love is that for those of you who are listening, you guys are also on Instagram as Treeline Organics, right? Is that there's, if you were, when somebody sees you guys and they see this conversation, like visual, not on their iPod or iTunes, which is, it's fine, but, and then they go to your website and then they go to Instagram, there's flow. Like there's, you see a brand, and the brand, it appears to me like it's also inclusive of YouTube, because you guys are on Instagram. I see some of your faces, and you're, I think that shouldn't be overlooked, is that whether the individual is part of the brand or not, there's a flow and a rhythm, and that's a wonderful thing that you guys are developing, like an actual brand, not just a product that you're going to sell.
Yeah, that was really important to us also. And we wanted to be the faces of the brand, to number one, say we definitely stand behind this product. But,
and we understand, so make us more personable. So we're like, we're not just like hiding behind the screen, but we know what you're going through.
Right. Yeah. So people can relate to us, relate to the story, and really connect with our company.
Nice. I love it. I love, this is just a random curiosity question. And this comes from the nurse part of me that is always going to be there. But insomnia, when I think of insomnia now as just the average Joe, if you will, or Jolene, is I think of somebody that's awake for maybe days, or like totally like they can't sleep. Is that what it's like?
When I had insomnia, it first started with, I started having panic attacks from a job that I had that was very, very stressful and high demand and everything. And then it kind of just evolved into this monster where I would go for 2 weeks with no sleep. And I'm talking not even 5 minutes of sleep. No sleep at all. I'd almost be in a shaky state all the time. And then if I'd eventually crash, it would be for 1 or 2 hours instead of like 2 or 3 days, like you would think somebody would, from that much lack of sleep. And it was just a complete cycle. I would just fall, day and night. I could hardly work. It just took its toll on me so much. And it was like that extreme for probably about 7 or 8 years. And then another 4 years of, I may sleep 2 hours, maybe not, type of thing. And then, it was horrible. It was the most tormenting thing to ever go through. And so when I went from that extreme to like popping a CBN pill in my body and sleeping for the first time it was a miracle.
And feeling great when you woke up.
Yeah, no, I wasn't groggy. I mean, it's obviously I was sleep deprived. So I mean, it takes a while for your body to kind of, just work things out and everything and catch up with sleep. But yeah, it was just life-changing.
I bet. That's interesting. It's interesting that that's, if we apply put the entrepreneurial hat on, is there was a problem that you were looking to solve. Mm-hmm. And that was potentially part and parcel to the launch of Treeline Organics, and the fact that you guys are honing in on CBN. And that shouldn't be lost to the listeners out there, is that find a problem, or there's a problem that needs to be solved, not just a build it, they will come mentality, and design a solution that has potential to scale, and even to the point, like you guys said, to have an exit in the next 36 months. And that's even cooler that you guys took the time to not just how you entered the industry, but the problem you were solving, the person you were serving, and where you wanted to take your business. And I like to allude that to when, generally speaking, most people spend more time planning their vacations than they do their businesses. And you guys literally took that plan a vacation model and overlaid it onto your company. And that's a powerful message.
Yeah. And it didn't happen overnight.
No.
And we didn't just sit down and spend an hour or even a week just like thinking about all of this. We think about it all the time, and it's just kind of evolved into I guess we started off broad, and then we just kept focusing down until we hit it and we're like, this is it.
Yeah.
And it was not an instant process. Yeah. It was.
I think we started back in June or July. with a conversation. And I believe it was in September that we got our Facebook page up and actually started a presence online. But we didn't have our products figured out yet or anything like that. We knew who we were going to talk to, though. We knew that we wanted it to be like an outdoor adventure, women active type of feel and look to it, and that's the audience we wanted to talk to. So we just started with that, and then we just took baby steps, trying to, it took a lot of like conversations and just brainstorming and just discussions about what's going on with us. We knew that if we created somebody like an avatar similar to us, we would be able to talk to them because
they could relate to us.
Yeah, we didn't want to be fake. We wanted to be authentic. So the problem we solved, we wanted to be able to like understand what people are going through.
Nice. So you have a presence across Facebook, Instagram. You have your show, your podcast, and it's on YouTube as well, YouTube channel.
Yes.
Do you guys maintain an email list? Like, do you capture emails on your website?
Yeah. So, and we also are on Pinterest as well. That's a newer one. We've only been on Pinterest for about a month or two. So we just started because we realized that that age group of women are on Pinterest, and Pinterest has, Pinterest has higher income, and people go there to search and to purchase.
Right.
And a lot of them
purchase right on Pinterest.
Yeah, and they're women.
Right.
So we added that to the mix.
Yeah.
But we, I'm sorry, I can't remember your question.
No. So actually, I'm going to ask you a question now.
Okay.
And and don't answer. Just let me ask it, but don't say anything.
Okay.
So you guys, you're on Facebook, Instagram, you have an email list, you have your podcast, we'll say podcast, YouTube show, and on Pinterest. You have five platforms, channels, if you will, by which you're able to reach an audience. So here's the question, and don't answer yet. Just think about it. Is of those five, what is your favorite? Your favorite, your top, whatever. And I'm going to count to 3, and on 3, both of you say your favorite. It doesn't. I'm just curious because you guys are attacking it from 5 angles: Facebook, Insta, email, podcast, Pinterest. So on the count of 3, each of you at the same time say what's your favorite. 3, 2, 1.
Facebook.
YouTube.
I knew hers was going to be YouTube.
Facebook and YouTube. Interesting. Okay. So let me ask. I'm going to ask just a couple more questions, and we're going to start wrapping up because I could just keep on going. So why is Facebook your favorite?
I think Facebook is my favorite because, and I was going back and forth between Facebook and Instagram. I love the look and the feel, and that there's so many images and everything on Instagram, but I think there's more conversation on Facebook, and there's more, it seems like, you can educate more because you can share longer copy, and you can also add, I know there's Instagram TV and everything, but we can also add, when you add Facebook live video, and I'm more familiar with Facebook as well because I've done Facebook ads for 5 or so years. So yeah, I just feel like I can reach more people with Facebook for what we're doing. And we've also got a Facebook group on top of that that's a bunch of insomniacs. So, we just can do a lot with Facebook.
Yeah.
And there's other platforms always popping up and everything, but Facebook is just, a strong, it's stable. Well, in some ways it's stable, and, it's been around for a while. And even though people get upset and leave Facebook, there's still, billions of people on Facebook. So you can reach so many people there.
Nice. I love it, Angie. So Denise, why the podcast? Why YouTube?
Well, I am actually new to both of them, but I am loving it. I love the whole process. I love recording the videos. I love editing them. I love putting them out for people. And I'm getting to know like with keywords and putting the right things in the descriptions, and I'm definitely new to it, but I'm having so much fun with it. And I think as the ball gets rolling, I think I'm going to have just as many conversations on YouTube as you do on Facebook. And And with the same thing goes with the podcast too. I'm just loving it.
Nice. So what's next for Treeline Organics? Like what's on the horizon? Short term, long term, like what's next? What do you want to share with the listeners as far as what can they look out for?
Well, as we mentioned, it's, we've been at this since last July. I believe it was in September also that we decided CBN, we were introduced to being able to bring CBN over to the hemp side. We didn't know if that was possible back then. And so we've worked so hard, and it's been painful, and it's been, exciting, and all the other emotions in between to bring a CBN product. What happened was when I was taking the CBN pill, it was just CBN, and I found that whenever I took my CBD oil along with that pill, it made the sleep, it brought out the CBN even more and made it even more of a really good sleep. And so we're just really proud to bring the 1-to-1 ratio CBN CBD. We had so many people promise they knew how to make CBN on the hemp side, and they didn't. They couldn't produce a COA. They wanted us to hand over $60,000 to $120,000 and just hope that they could figure it out, and it was absolutely crazy.
No, thank you.
We literally would spend days just messaging as many people as we could, asking, who do you know that has CBN that can make it on the hemp side? We have our cannabis consultant was doing the same thing, trying to help us to connect and everything. And then in January, we finally got the right connection, but it's been since January that we've worked to get CBN because there's been hiccups in the process still. And one time it came to us and it wasn't clean, so we had to send it back to get the residual solvents back out of it. So, it's been a challenge, but we're actually launching it next week, and we're so excited, and we just can't, it's like surreal right now.
Doing cartwheels.
We just got a picture from our manufacturer of it's called Epic Sleep, of our Epic Sleep bottle with the label on it this morning, and it's just
so sexy. Yeah. It's the sexiest bottle you'll ever have.
We actually had some samples sent to us and sent them to our investors, and one of our investors has really bad sleep problems as well. His issue is he'll get to sleep, but then he'll wake up about 2:00 and he can't get back to sleep. And so he's kind of been in the same situation where nothing's worked for him. He's been a little bit skeptical whether or not CBN would work for him, just because he's had bad experiences with others, and he's even tried the CBN pills, and they're kind of hit and miss. But when we sent it to him, he's like, okay, I'm gonna take this. Let's hope it works, And then he messaged us the next day. He's like, I slept amazing, all in caps and everything. And then he was like, I just wanted to see if it was a fluke or if it was really working. So he decided to take it during the day before he went to church. And so he said he went to church and he couldn't keep his eyes open.
Jeez, that's crazy.
I know. So we're excited about that.
That is pretty cool. I'm really curious to see now what your darn label looks like, since it's super sexy. So Denise, where can we find you guys? Where can we find you guys, the show, who you are? Give the listeners a place to go to.
Well, our YouTube channel is CBD Q&A by Treeline Organics, and it's the same with our podcast. We're on iTunes and SoundCloud, and we're on so many of the podcast platforms.
Nice.
And then Facebook is Treeline Organics.
Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest are all at Treeline Organics.
Yeah.
Nice. So there's a variety of places depending on where she wants to go is at Treeline Organics, and then CBD Q&A with Treeline Organics on YouTube.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. Y'all, I just want to thank you so much for being on. This has been fun, and I know that I literally, I'll show you, I have a bunch of notes written down. Like, I have a ton of notes because this was great. I mean, just your openness and sharing. So really appreciate it on behalf of the listeners and myself. And my wife was here a little while ago. She just walked.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. We're very honored to be on.
Absolutely.
To be a part of your show.
Nice. Very cool. All right. Well, listen, so you guys just listened to Treeline Organics and a little bit about their genesis, their startup story, partnerships, the good, the bad, and the ugly, how they make it work. And if you didn't hear this, you got to go back and review and watch this, because if you're listening to this, then you know darn well that you guys are on a Weed to Know basis. Thank you all for tuning in today. Have a fantastic one. Peace.